ChatGPT has turned us all into brain-dead zombies. People are so dependent on AI nowadays. It's actually ridiculous. They use it for school, for research. They use it for brainstorming. They use it, I'm constantly asking it questions. And it's so easy to be lazy nowadays. I find myself sometimes, this is such a bad thing, but sometimes I struggle when I'm like in the Google search bar, because I'm like thinking of how I can word it as a question rather than wording it for how I would word it to AI, how I would ask ChatGPT to answer the question for me. That's like ridiculous, right? That's what I'm saying. It's so easy to be lazy nowadays. I swear, I'm a professional at half finishing things and then passing it on for someone else to do. And in this case, that someone else is literally not a someone else. It's something. It's ChatGPT. It's an AI that's been built, and whenever you ask that questions, it scours the internet for like thousands of videos, thousands of articles, whatever it can find on the topic, on the subject, and then it'll take the most general answer, and then it'll combine them all, and it'll give you the most general response. So that's what, when you have to think about that when you're brainstorming using ChatGPT. You don't want to use it as a complete, you don't want that to come up with your idea and then come up with the script and then come up with everything else. You want to use that purely just to spark a creative idea in your brain, and then you make that into your own thing. That's the only way that I see it acceptable, sort of using ChatGPT for brainstorming and whatnot. I think in the future, AI could become more of a different art medium. Like I was thinking about this yesterday. This is just going off the top of my head right now, so sorry if I fuck up. But if you think about like when the first camera was invented, people back in that time, they had artists and like portrait painters and stuff. Do you think those people were scared of their job getting taken from them because of cameras? Like, people would rather have an image taken of them rather than have a portrait painted of them. I think that's how AI is going to be used, is going to be in the future. Like, people in the film industry right now, they're scared that their jobs may be affected by the progression of AI. But what if it's just going to become its own medium? Like, people are going to seek out AI content if they want to seek out AI content. But obviously, people are still going to want... Like, people nowadays still get portraits done. It's not as common, but people still get it done. It's its own form of art. It's its own form of... you seek out a portrait rather than seeking out a photographer. There might be a different term for someone who uses AI primarily. Because I think AI is a good tool. I think it's a good tool for, researching, brainstorming even, if you use it correctly. A lot of people, as I said before, just use it for their all. Whereas I think if you're really pushing it to its limits, I've seen like really creative content using AI, and I think it's cool, But when you use it, just like, I only think it's cool and acceptable if you use it as a tool and like a stepping stone, sort of. Otherwise, if you push it to its complete limits and you're kind of pioneering what AI is capable of doing, I think that's sick. But the way that a lot of people use it, I don't really mess with. I find that it really blocks your creativity when someone else can just come up with the ideas for you, because you're not sitting there, you're not developing that critical thinking. I wrote this down in my notes, so I'm going to take a look at that real quick. Yeah, it takes away from critical thinking and actually generating ideas yourself. A lot of my best sort of ideas have kind of just come to me randomly. Some higher being just planted that shit in my brain, and then I wanted to take action on it, because obviously if that shit came to your mind and everything flowed so naturally, I think you should take action on it. You should make it reality, and if you're passionate about it, hell yeah, why not? But yeah, like ChatGPT generates ideas for you, and they're really generalized ideas. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have ChatGPT write me a script. I mean, I use it to come up with ideas and stuff. Like, I'll come up with the main idea and I'll start writing about it, and then I'll be like, I'll just see if ChatGPT knows, has to say anything that could spark some more substance, something else to say about it. I think it really takes out the rawness out of creativity in filmmaking. Like, it takes the rawness and the grit out of it. I don't know how else to expand on that. It just does. It doesn't feel human, and that's what I really want to do. I want to make something human. I want to make something that connects me and the audience. Like, you can watch this and you can maybe not relate to it, but I'm just a human being talking, you know? Like, I want to make something that another human can watch and be inspired by. I find there's a lot of content that I watch where it's really good content, but it doesn't motivate me. It kind of demotivates me in a sense, because I'm like, how will I ever achieve this? But I want to make something that anyone else can do. Anyone else can do at home. Obviously not the exact same, because everything's coming from my mind, but it's something that motivates people. Something that genuinely connects me to the viewer. Like, all of this is my own ideas, my own footage, my own voice. These videos are me. But I feel as though if I use ChatGPT, if I use it in the wrong ways, and potentially other people just using it to come up with their videos, it makes me feel like that's not me. You know, like I'll be making that content, but that's not me. I think about Sneo, and I'm really inspired by his old content, but Sneo, he was kind of money hungry in what he chose to do. Like, where he started sort of rage baiting and acting like a fool online. You know, when you watch his old video essays, you don't imagine that guy would do that stuff. But I saw a breakdown of like how much money he was making doing what he's doing now compared to what he was doing before, and he's making way more money. And so I can't help but think that must be a motivator for him. He liked making the video essays, but eventually it just wasn't fulfilling enough, and he was money hungry, so he started doing outlandish shit and just being a dumbass online. I had this written down, but about my thought with AI becoming its own art medium. It's like how anyone can pick up a camera and use it, but there is a skill gap to it. You know, a toddler could pick up a camcorder and, you know, have someone press record and then they'll film shit, but it's not going to be like movie worth. There's a skill gap to it. There's lighting, there's, you know, sound design, there's editing, there's, you know, actually putting it together and making it like a flowing piece. And honestly, I haven't thought about it too deep with AI. Like, how could they, you know, it's not going to be exactly like camera. Like, all that stuff I just mentioned to do with camera, AI is going to have a completely different skill set to use. Like, especially like portrait painting and just artists in general, there's a whole different set of skills that they need for painting. And if you look at musicians, there's a whole different skill set with using instruments and knowing how they work together and chord progressions, and there's a whole skill set you need to learn to be able to do it. Yeah, you know, I could, like, it's so easy to be lazy with ChatGPT. Like, I'm a victim too, bro. I be using that shit I use that shit for all my assignments, essentially. And, you know, no one really found out that I was using it. Like, I kind of knew how to change it around so that it didn't seem like I was using it. And that's worrying that people can get away with that, because it makes it really easy to become lazy. And that's what I'm saying I'm a victim of. I become very lazy when I'm just allowing something else to do everything for me. But that's just not fulfilling. I want to make my own shit. You know what I mean? Anyways, that's all I've got for this video. I've got some more stuff in the works, but in between videos, I'd like to just shit out these little rants, because I like talking and I have all these ideas, but then sometimes they get lost when I'm working on another video. I'm writing other scripts and coming up with other ideas, but they don't really turn into anything because, you know, I'm already working on something else. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you have a good day or night. Peace.